Welcome to my Immolation Tyrant Mag DK build video for no CP PvP. This is a heavy armor melee damage dealer that uses a lot of fire damage to really put the pressure on your enemy and to create space for your allies to huddle around you because being near you is too dangerous for whoever you're fighting. Let's take a quick look at the stats. This is my live version, so it's not completely min-maxed for what I'm doing, but you've got almost 24k Magicka, almost 24k health, about 15k stamina, your Magicka recovery is about 1200, health recovery is about 1000, your stamina recovery is about 500, your spell damage nearly 3000, I think I've seen it go up to about 4000, spell pen is about 1450, and your spell crit is only 13%. Decent Magicka and physical resistance is about 16,000 physical resistance and 18.5 Magicka resistance with 1,800 critical resistance. I think this goes up to about 2,500 on Greymoor patch, so that'll be a big buff. Right, so let's talk about gear now. This is a pretty straightforward thematic build around making the DK fight with fire. Immolation Tyrant, it's in the name. So to start off with, of course, our 5-piece body armor set is going to be all Elfbane, and it's going to be all Impen, all Tri-Stat. This is going to give you a decent boost on your DPS because everything you're doing is fire. Second, you are going to look at your monster set. This is going to be Grothdar, which Elfbane affects. So we're going to go with a medium and light on Grothdar, Impen, Tri-Stat. This will give you all 3 armor types for your Undaunted passives, which will give you more of every stat. Jewelry and our front bar are going to be New Moon Acolyte. We're going to go with a infused spell damage necklace, 2 swift rings with Magicka recovery, and then our weapon is going to be an Inferno Staff, Nirnhoned with a fiery weapon enchant. Our back bar is going to be a Blessing of the Potentis, Restoration Staff, infused weapon damage enchantment. For your sets, I really wouldn't go too far off that. You could swap your back bar into a sword and board if you feel the need to, but I have found that this works out pretty well. The restoration passives do give you a nice little boost to your heavy attack Magicka regen. As always, you can adjust traits and enchantments. You might want to go another Magicka recovery on the necklace. So really, just adjust it, play with it, find out what you really like, but this is a good starting point. Alright, let's get into the skills. First up on our front bar, we're going to have Flame Lash. Now, this is great because every once in a while we will get the heal out of this, and it is up a lot. Followed by that, we've got Engulfing Flames. This just ups our DPS 9% on this build, so an extra 9% fire damage across the board. Third up is Fossilize. This is great for one-on-ones. You're going to lock them down, and you're going to get a lot of damage in while they're stuck like this. Coagulating Blood. It's our heal on our front bar. Very strong. Alright, Protective Plate. This is our snare immunity on the front bar. It is really strong. We do need it. You are going to use it. Our ultimate is Ferocious Leap. This is where we get a lot of damage. We get a big shield. We get a lot of stats back from our passive from Battle Roar. Our back bar is Unrelenting Grip. Now this will pull them to us. If it does not, we get the Magicka back and we still do the damage. So this can be a lot of free damage if you're spamming this while chasing someone until they get pulled into you. Alright, we've got Choking Talons. This is just a great root, and it decreases the amount of damage that they're going to be doing. Volatile Armor. This is how you get Major Resolve. It also does a nice little bit of AoE, which can pull Stealth Nightblades out. Here's our flex spot. I've got Siege Shield in here. You could also run Race Against Time to be a little more selfish, and that's just as good. If you're in group play, I like Siege Shield. It's just so good for taking keeps. And finally, Igneous Weapons, which is Major Brutality and Major Sorcery on about a 53-second timer, so that's pretty great. Finally, Shifting Standard, Major Defile AoE that can move about, and what's not to like. Alright, let's talk about races. So you have a lot of options, and when we talk about races, there really isn't a whole lot of difference in what you're going to be getting out of each race. You're just going to be making up for that lack and positive out of each race by other points in your build. So let's just kind of go over what different races do. Breton bring the best Magicka regen, which means you're going to be able to put more damage glyphs on, and Altmer, they're bringing the highest damage, so conversely, you're going to need Magicka regen. Nords make good tanks, they have good ultimate gen. Argonians are kind of the best self-heal sustain tanks because potions are going to provide a lot of stats back in general. So if you use a tri-stat potion, you're going to get just a lot of stats back on top of that. Dark Elf and Khajiit are the best all-rounders, whereas Dark Elves are going to provide a little more damage, but Khajiit are going to have a little more sustain, but they both have all-around stats. Now, thematically, I like the idea of a Dark Elf Dragon Knight, so I would suggest maybe going that for thematics, but you can really pick any of them, and it's not going to make a whole lot of difference. You're just going to have to adjust a few things. Now let's talk about Vampire, Werewolf, or neither. And in this case, obviously you're not going to be playing Stamina, so I wouldn't even bother with Werewolf. And for Vampire, there just isn't enough to make it worth it on this build. There are some other builds that I play that I am going to actually be using Vampire after Greymoor, but this is not one of them. So I wouldn't bother with either. Alright, let's talk Moontis Stones. So you have a couple different options based on what your preference is going to be. Always good is the Lover with physical and spell penetration. You also have the Atronach, which is the Magicka Recovery. Finally, you can go with either the Apprentice or the Steed. The Apprentice giving you that spell damage, and the Steed is health recovery, but really you're picking it for that increased run speed of about 10%. Any of those is going to work fine. Again, you're just going to be making small adjustments to your build other places, because whatever you choose, you're going to need to adjust for. Alright, let's talk food. Witch Mother's Potent Brew is your starter type food. Max Magicka, Max Health, and Magicka Recovery. Another option is Longfin Pastry with melon sauce. So this is your tri-stat food. This is the one I would actually go with for first if you're fine on Magicka Recovery. Another upgrade would be Clockwork Citrus Fillet, Health, Health Recovery, Max Magicka, and Magicka Recovery. Always a good choice, but very expensive. Finally, my favorite choice of food, Witched Sugar Skulls. Tri-stat food with a little bit of health recovery. If you can take care of your Magicka Recovery and don't need it, this is the best food. That little bit of extra stamina is one more dodge roll. Alright, let's talk potions. Now, there was really only 4 kinds of potions that I see you using with this build. The first one is Tripod. As always, these are just great PvP potions. A little bit of every resource that you're going to need in those clutch moments. Your bread and butter potions are going to be spell pot potions. As of Greymoor, the Alliance Point versions from the PvP vendors are going to be just as good as the craftable ones. So stop buying them and crafting them and using expensive reagents. Just buy them for AP. Then you've got, which really is going to be 2 of the same kind of potion, but just a little bit different, is your immovable pots. The reason you want these is when you're going to make a charge or need to get out of somewhere, that little bit of immovability is going to be so strong. Now you'll want a health, stamina, immovable version, and a health, magicka, immovable version. That just kind of covers all your bases. And that's really the only kind of pots you're going to need. Right, so that is my Immolation Tyrant Mag DK no CP PvP build. I really hope you give it a try. I hope you like it. Adjust what you need to make it your own. Please remember, give these videos a like. I really appreciate it. We're going to keep doing a couple more. Other than that, we're going to go to some fight footage of this build in action.